Auditor General Kimi Makwetu has yet again revealed the shocking state of the country's municipal finances. The report showed that there was another regression in the audit outcomes in local government, with fruitless and wasteful expenditure remaining high, over 2 billion rand. For more reaction on the story, I'm joined by Thembi Nkadimeng, the president of the South African Local Government Association. Mr. Nkadimeng, thank you so much for talking to us. Your reaction to the audit outcomes?
Thank you very much. I think we did indicate that we note with the disappointment with the regression that is experienced by local government, and we have committed ourselves together with the AG, local government departments, and also ourselves as SALGA, that National Treasury may, where the AG has indicated, withdrawn the distribution of equitable share until the municipalities are able to properly account for the funds that they've utilized.
Is SALGA not tired of reacting with disappointment each and every single time we've been seeing these audit outcomes released? Because this is not a new picture.
Well, if you will recall, in the past financial year of the audit, the AG's indication was that we need to assist municipalities with proper training at MPEC level, where oversight is supposed to be done by councillors, because that's where the area was found wanting. As we are talking, 103 municipalities were undertaken through this process. But it does indicate that even what was indicated by the AG was not followed through, even when the training. Remember, SALGA is to capacitate, is to support. You can train a person, but you can not make the person to do the right thing, even when he has been trained. That is why the next step, after the capacity has been filled, is that the Constitution says, and SALGA is saying it must be done. Section 216, it says National Treasury, where there's been deliberate violation of the regulations, they must withhold the money until municipalities are able to account. So we are not only surprised, but we act in line with what the AG has recommended.
So is there a problem with the people of the training?
Look, the AG also made an indication in his marks. If you would want to be a chief financial officer and you are not a chief financial officer, no amount of training could assist to do that. So you reach a level where you have got to do separation. Was this person properly appointed? If not, it means the person needs to be out of that job. Secondly, is the training given, and is the training bearing results? You may be capacitated, but you may deliberately be doing wrong decisions, which means consequence management is what is supposed to follow, and that's the stage in which we are at. If you look into the pages thoroughly of what the AG is saying, it's a deliberate ignoring of rules and regulations which are supposed to assist municipalities to deliver properly. So there's no amount of training. You can take me to a school, but if I do not want to follow the rules and regulation, it means action must happen. And this is the stage in which we are at. Hence his heading, not much goes around, wrong hands at the till. That's what the AG is saying. He said there are wrong hands at the till. There's no training which could make your hands to be right at the till. It means there must be consequences that must be taken if there are wrong hands at the till.
So can we expect a swift movement with removing those that are the wrong hands at the till? Because as the Auditor General himself has said, there is weakness at managerial level. It looks like the controls are weak. Those that are in these positions cannot even make sense of the financials that are put in front of them, and they're handing these over to consultants who then have to answer the tough questions from the auditors who are coming in to check the financial status of those municipalities. Can we expect swift action here to remove those at the helm so that we don't find ourselves with such a report in the next financial year?
Very swift. You are very correct. Very swift action has already started. Remember, the AG has already spoken that he has identified 9, which he has handed over to us as well. But further than the 9 municipalities which have been identified by the AG, we have taken a decision ourselves that in all the municipalities that have transgressed, we have sent communication to ensure that they respond to those issues. We'll visit those municipalities on a quarter basis together with the AG, National Department of COCTA, and SALGA and National Treasury to ascertain as to whether those things are being done. If not, the funds will be withheld. So there will be action that has already started.
Is it only the withholding of funds or removing those that are incompetent?
Of course, that process goes with an assessment. Where are your capabilities? Are you there? Were you hired properly? Are you supposed to be there? Does your skill match your job? And you need to be removed if the skill doesn't meet the job. I mean, the AG articulated this, that if you are unable to read a financial statement and you are a CFO, there's no amount of enlightenment they can also give. So if you are in that position and you are not supposed to be in that, you need to be able to move. That movement needs to be made.
And let's talk about, specifically some of the municipalities and zooming into some of them here. You look at the worrying picture in the Eastern Cape here, and you look at, of course, some of the, the transgressions. Let's look at the OR Tambo district, for example. This is the largest contributor. There's a dire picture here. There's a departure from basic provision of services such as water and sanitation. What's SALGA's reaction to this?
Look, remember, it's part of the 9 that the AG has already identified, and we've worked on a quarter plan to make sure that they adhere to those. But also, cases with law enforcement agencies have also been on the card to make sure that consequences are adhered to. The Portfolio Committee of COCTA has also begun a process of summoning those municipalities so that they could also start with the fraud and criminal cases to make sure that there is not only accountability in paper, but people are sanctioned with paper certificates so that the money that was meant to develop water and sanitation in just but one of that example of municipality that we have listed is got back so that it could be taken back to where it's supposed to be utilized.
And while that is one aspect of dealing with this, what is being done for residents that are without these services at a practical level?
Can you please come back again with that question?
So while you're saying that, charges, criminal charges, and you're looking at, of course, accountability and all of that, there's another layer here, and these are residents that are still without these services. What is being done to ensure that while the investigations continue, they themselves are at least getting some of these basic services?
Remember what Section 216, besides withholding of the funds, what National Treasury is supposed to do is to ascertain the need and directly channel the funds directly, not through the system that is now bearing no fruits, but also directly to the community. So it does not only come as a way of saying you withheld the funds, because if you withheld their funds, it means you are not giving water to the OR Tambo, but you withheld the fund in the system in how you have been giving it. You give water to OR Tambo, you could use the Department of Water and Sanitation in this example to be an implementing agent, or you could use a water board to be an implementing agent rather than using the direct municipalities, which is supposed still to be accounting for the funds that have not been utilized appropriately. So that's what Section 216 calls for, rather than withdrawing or withholding so that people remain without water. Remember, they didn't do anything wrong. They need water. But if the system you are utilizing doesn't get water to reach to where it's supposed to go to, you will use another channel which National Treasury uses together with COCTA to ensure that the municipality is in a better position first before it could be allocated that fund. So communities are not going to be deprived. They will receive their services. Municipalities must account, and then we'll be able to go back to the position of normality where they are allowed to offer services to communities directly.
Should we be re-looking at, the functioning of our municipalities, those systems there? Should we need to re-look at them to prevent municipalities from bleeding money like this?
Well, just 2-3 weeks ago, we set a SALGA into the Portfolio Committee of Local Government. There's quite a lot that needs to be reviewed. I think the Deputy Minister also spoke about it. There are some instances in local government which makes it difficult, are structural. Some are relationship and the instability, and this is how the legislation is structured to pose oversight versus administration. And then there's deliberate inaction or action which is in violation with the law. And mostly the AG comes at the end of the financial year. which is when he's auditing, when the money has already been spent. We need to do quite a lot prior in terms of preparing the capacity, hiring the correct people, deploying the correct oversight politicians, and then move into proper management, a review, implementation of projects, and then the AG comes at the end. When the AG comes at the end and these two legs are not correct, we will not get the system right. And we were saying, let's look and unpack every system that is developed and it's there, that is not assisting local government. For example, grading of municipalities. There's one municipality that got a clean audit in Eastern Cape. It's saying small. It's unable to attract the skills, but still do with the little that it had. Yes, you've got a poor performance management system. You still remunerate equally and even high those who don't perform, but punishes those who are performing in small because they are graded small. So there's quite a lot even in the system that needs to be changed before you could get an excellent local government.
One of the, the municipalities, when you look at one area here, there's 20 out of 257 that have achieved these clean audits. How did they get it right?
Well, the legislation is very clear and very guiding, which means they've got their systems in place. They've got commitment to do the work, and they manage efficiently. Those are three things. You need to be effective, economic, and efficient. Those are three things that the legislation guides us. Remember, they're not using any law that Nkadimeng is not using. It's one regulated Municipal Finance Management Act, which is clearly articulated on how the systems needs to be. Now, why is it difficult and easy for other municipalities to be able to do is what we're trying to unpack. But in the main, as you can see, our statement and our assessment together with the AG, it's deliberate action which is not meant to be accountable and achieve clean governance. So we have got to be deliberate. As SALGA, we've got deliberate, as municipalities, as COPTA, to clean the local government sphere. That's what it is about in the main.
And let's look at another issue. Pardon me, you can continue just briefly.
No, I was just saying there are very few municipalities which are rural, small, and are unable to attract. Those needs capacity. But in the main, the AG made an example about Nkadimeng, very close to Pretoria. It's not one of the municipalities which is unable to attract, but it's sitting on a disclaimer for 8 years.
And let's talk about...
What he's saying repeatedly 8 times, and there's no one who's taking responsibility.
And let's look at another issue that has been said repeatedly, which is the issue of consultants and how municipalities continue to rely on consultants. Will there ever come a time where we're seeing even less and less consultants coming into municipalities? Because what that has shown us over the years, consultants are coming in, but very little result is achieved at the end of the day.
True, the AG has articulated that as municipalities, we did not get the value of the money collectively that we have paid to consultants. And I think it does suggest we got cut.
Ms. Nkadimeng, are you still able to hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
You can continue.
I'm sorry, I think we got cut. I'm saying the AG did articulate properly that municipalities did not get the value of the money that they've paid for consultants. Why would we hire officials who are employed on a day-to-day at a finance unit but still hire consultants? And this is what the AG was highlighting. For example, still with Nkadimeng, that collectively the municipality is paying 33 million for these employees, but it pays 36 million for one contractor or one consultant, which means their finding is that do away with the consultants, get your officials who are paid on a day-to-day basis to do their work. If they need to be capacitated, let's look into capacitating them or moving them if they're incapable of doing the job. Because remember, you also articulated that in some units of the municipalities at finance, people don't even have a clue of what are they supposed to do, which means they should be, they should not be where they are employed.
So if anything is to go by in the next coming days, we are also going to see, and months, are going to see quite a lot of movement when it comes to ensuring that come the next financial year, come the next audit outcomes, we do not find ourselves in this position. We probably have more municipalities that do not sit with disclaimers, do not have qualified audits, do not find themselves being called deteriorating accountability and financial management there, coupled with, of course, a deliberate lack of accountability. Are we being promised here that the next audit outcome is going to be better than this?
Remember, the AG clearly articulated the process as well of what does it take for us to arrive at that. And yes, it's a guarantee. He said it very well that we're writing to councils for councils to take responsibility of the outcome of the audit, of the audit outcomes, but two, to be properly told you are capacitated or you're not capacitated to deal with such issues. And this is the action that you need to take to your managers who have not done what they were supposed to do and recollect the money that has been, the community money that has been wasted. So that should be able to take us back into a situation where local government is able to function properly and deliver the services that our community so really needs.
And I know, Mr. Nkadimeng, you're saying what the Auditor General has said. We've all heard him. But are we getting a promise from SALGA and those in charge that come the next audit outcome, things will be better?
It's a promise. We have articulated it even ourselves in our notes to say that we will work together with the AG, Kokta, the Deputy Minister was here, SALGA and National Treasury. It's a team that has already started with the first 9 municipalities identified. And the terms of reference are outlined by the Office of the AG. And we are part of them to ensure that that happens. So it's a commitment. I think it's even the first time where the AG sits with the SALGA president to ensure that we also take our part in the role that we're supposed to play in cleaning the sphere. And we're already in concert here. We are accepting as well, even in our media statement, to say there's deliberate violation of rules which calls for consequence management to happen. And we will support the AG, we will support the law enforcement agencies, we will support COCTA in cleaning off the sphere at local government.
We certainly do hope that, as you say there, Mr. Nkadimeng, that the picture will certainly improve. That's Thembi Nkadimeng, who is the president of SALGA.